Do you, like me, love hitting delay on what needs doing? You can't help but concoct the perfect excuse in the moment, passing by any signs of procrastination, saying that's just a problem for future me. Whether there's a deadline or no deadline, nothing's safe from the tempting grip of procrastination. Have a dissertation to do? Binge a series you've already seen a dozen times instead. Need to revise? Scroll on your phone. Now, this video isn't about calling you out because we all do it, but what I do have is an easy fix that involves removing the barriers we put up whilst injecting it with an element of fun so that any project is approachable and feels like a walk in the park. As I'm already wary that even watching this video can count as procrastination, let's get to the point and look at the 3 ways we can overcome it. Number 1, make your routine so fun that you want to show up. I know what you're thinking, putting the words routine and fun together sounds like an oxymoron, but there is a way to have both that can keep you on the track willingly rather than being chained to it. Make it as approachable as possible. We all need incentives. For me it's coffee, or more accurately, an iced drink that's a glorified milkshake with a shot of coffee thrown in there. Now you might say caffeine's a drug that shouldn't be relied on, but we all have our vices and there is a time and a place where we can use them productively. I'm also not about to say the cure is to down a 6-pack of Monster energy drinks and cram like your life depends on it, as we know how that'll turn out. What do I mean? Well, we can use them to set the scene so that we want to show up. Now, what I'm about to say does sound like the rationale of an addict, but hear me out. Although I admit the caffeinated drink does help alleviate my inhibitions, stopping me from writing, what matters more is the environment, the scene I set so that I don't think twice but to show up, and the cafe is that space. But this can be any space for you. All that matters is having a routine that you look forward to, as you'll show up more often and ideas will come naturally, producing quantity and quality in equal measure. So if a project or task seems like effort to start with, take it as a sign that you need to add another element to the mix. When I'm at home surrounded by endless distractions and I don't feel motivated to write but instead sit on my beanbag and play games, another way I break through that barrier is to put a record on. It's something that I need to listen to till the end and it keeps me on the track. So, the more fun you can make the first step, the easier it will be to keep going. If the element you add in isn't enough, then remove a distraction from the equation. If it's still not working, then the fun element might not be the right fit, so pick something else. Number 2, simplify your habits. If you keep putting off something that needs doing, you've made the task too challenging in your mind and should condense it into a more palatable task. This technique isn't mine, it's from James Clear's Atomic Habits, which he calls the 2-minute rule. Don't worry, it's really simple and it will put the enjoyment back into the task or habit as he classifies them. The idea is to make your habits as simple as they can be, condensing them into a 2-minute task. Clear illustrates this transition with the following examples. Read before bed each night becomes read 1 page. Do 30 minutes of yoga becomes take out my yoga mat. Study for class becomes open my notes. Just like with my setting the scene suggestion, it's all about framing the task in the best way so that there's less friction to showing up. Number 3, lower your standards at first. Since my last video on perfectionism, I've started to realise the role our high standards play in paralysing us and causing us to put off what needs doing. It's hard to feel motivated to do something when our standards expect high quality work out of the gate. This thought process makes the task seem insurmountable, and so we'd rather not even try. Now, I said lower your standards at first, as I don't want to suggest producing things of poor quality, but rather to start being okay with poor results in the early stages, just to get the momentum going. Look at your early work as drafts. Say to yourself, it's a work in progress, it will take as long as it needs to take. Also, it's important to remember that although striving for perfection can get you closer to it, perfection is unattainable, and expecting it is a one-way ticket to burnout. Perfection and procrastination go hand in hand, and to resolve one, we need to resolve the other. A common technique is to set a timer for 5 minutes and just start something with the purpose of doing it poorly. Then take a break and go at it again, either editing what you've already done or progressing further if you feel inspired. Taking a break is key because you'll learn how stepping back instead of powering through is conducive to higher quality. Plus, learning to be okay with whatever you come up with prevents procrastination and improves consistency because you're creating a less intimidating entry point, so distractions will seem less alluring. Nothing is easier than putting things off. It requires no effort, and with the short-term relief you get from avoiding a difficult task, you forget about the long-term repercussions. We may have a tendency to make things worse for the familiar comfort it brings. The psychologist Sigmund Freud calls this our bed-rotting instinct, which pulls us towards sabotage, making us spiral out of control and away from the person we know we should be. If we're used to sabotaging what is in our best interests, it's easier to sink deeper as it can feel like home. The way we avoid this masochism is to let go of our need for perfection and take stress out of the equation, prioritising consistently showing up instead. As the writer and psychologist Steve Peters says, do the work consistently without stress. So, prioritise the idea that attendance is the most important thing. It's better to show up and produce less each time than to have irregular high-intensity days, as you'll get burnt out and throw in the towel. As long as we show up daily, perfection doesn't matter. Although it's been said a billion times, less is more. Imagine you're a musician and you're struggling to create a song, whether it's coming up with a riff or writing lyrics. The problem's almost always overcomplication. You're doing too much. The riff might be too complicated when simple notes are what's needed, or you're forcing poetic lyrics rather than following the simple message that you started with. Although we know it's better for the art to do less slowly, we can't resist obsessing over perfection, and so we mess around frantically and aimlessly to unnaturally force an outcome. Doing less across the board then tends to produce more quality, as you are allowing for ideas to come out naturally. Closing thoughts. To put it simply, if you struggle with procrastination, make it more approachable. Set the scene that it's a consistently enjoyable space, simplify the habit, and don't get worked up with its unfinished appearance. Hopefully now you have enough to work with to remove the barriers that are causing you to procrastinate. Thanks for watching.